Welcome everyone, today we have a new build guide for Diablo 4, and in this video we have something very exciting to go through. So a lot of viewers were saying to check out this particular build from Rob, and this is just released 12 hours ago, and this is the Nightmare Dungeon with Diablo, and notice that he was doing billions of damage, right? So a lot of viewers were saying check out this video, and what we're going to do in this video is we'll be learning from Rob of how to build a level 100 Barbarian Whirlwind Barbarian, and I have learned all the skill trees, the choices of legendaries, uniques, and also the Paragon levels. And we'll go through the choices that he showed in the video, and over here we also have alternative choices that what happens when you don't have the unique items or the special effects that he has, because he will be using 2 unique items in the game. And here we have a variety of build that shows you what to do without those unique items at the start of the game, and also will optimize the pathing that he showed us to go through the final pathing that he was trying to build. So I'll provide you guys with a few different variety of the build, and we'll be learning a lot from Rob over here. Now this video will be broken down into a few parts. The first part, we're going to briefly have a look at how Rob plays, and I'll just basically highlight a few things that he showed in the video. The second part is that we will go through the skill trees, the choice of legendaries, and also the Paragon board that he showed us for level 100 Barbarian. And the final part is I'll show you guys the alternative of what he was planning to go for and what we can path out at the final build that he was trying to achieve, because he was a few Renown points short for the final build. Now of course guys, before we start, a big thank you for Rob for sharing this one, and I'll have the video link and everything related to this video in the description, so definitely check out the video. This video he shows a lot of good details about how the build rotation works, how the skill works, how the synergy works, and how to build this particular barbarian. So what we'll do is, let's briefly have a look at the gameplay he was showing, and I'll just add a little bit of my notes, but make sure you guys check out his video, because he explained things into a lot of details. So what we're going to do is I'll briefly go through the build he was showing us. He's going to go through a Whirlwind Barbarian over here, as you guys can see, and he will be benefiting a lot of stats like bleeding, like slows, crowd control, and he has been benefiting stats like having a barrier activated. And notice one thing though, one thing you want to notice is that he does not have a basic spell. He is using his resource generation, using the berserk, and also using 3 shots. And the ability that he deals tremendous damage is with the special unique gloves that translate all the whirlwind damage into instant burst damage after a few seconds of whirlwind. So his build is very interesting, and I'm very excited to go through the build with you guys. And make sure guys you check out his video, because he has a lot of good explanations. Now over here, Rob also shows his skill trees and also passives, so if you guys do want to check out this video, definitely check it out, and he also shares his insight. It was just a little bit fast. I had to pause the video many times as I learned his build. He was going a little bit fast because he's a veteran, right? So what I'll do is I'll go a little slower for you guys, but make sure you check out his video because he shares a lot of information as well. Now I also want to let you guys know I'm working with more analytics to provide you guys with more cheat sheet and also more summaries of different builds. So this is one of the examples of the Whirlwind Barbarian. You can see that it is a little different to what Rob has shown, but it is very similar with the 5 level into different shouts and also using the Whirlwind. So what we'll be doing is I'll be working with more analytics to provide you guys with more summary of using different builds in a quick glance. So if you guys are playing on your console, playing on your computer, you can check out those builds on your phone. And this will be available in the links below. So make sure to check the links below for this summary of the Whirlwind build Barbarian. We'll have this one ready for you guys very soon at the launch of the game. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through the skill tree that he suggested. We can have alternatives in the future, but for now let's go with the skill tree he provided. So 2 points will be going into the basic spell with Launch Strike, and this spell is actually not used in one of his active spells. This spell is just so you can get to the next section of the build. So notice that in the video he does not have Launch Strike activated as well. Now 5 points will be going into Whirlwind, and Whirlwind will be providing additional damage with a slashing weapon that provides bleeding for 5 seconds. And he will be using bleeding as a source of bonus damage and also ability to slow enemies, so this is quite important. Now the Whirlwind build itself will be providing a lot of vulnerability with the core spells, so 3 points will be going to the pressure point over here. As we keep going, what you're going to see in the video back here is you're going to see that Rob is actually using shout multiple times, and they're rotating multiple times, and lots of net damage numbers here too. So what he was doing was he was going 5 points into Rally Cry and also 5 points into Challenging Shot, which provides him with tremendous amount of resource generation and also movement speed, together with damage reduction. Because he's not using a basic spell, most of the resource generation will be coming from the Rally Cry and also coming from the Berserk. Now over here, the upgrade of Rally Cry, he was getting Unstoppable and also additional Fury gain as he casts a Rally Cry. So here you can see that the upgrades over here. And as for the challenging shot, he was going with the shot provides maximum life and also provides additional fury as you take damage, which is quite important as he will be in the middle of enemies. Now 1 point will be allocated into Iron Skin. Actually, I allocated 2 points, that's why I was missing a point. I was wondering why I was missing a point. So 1 point will be allocated into Iron Skin, and this skill will provide him with additional Fortify and even more Fortify with maximum life. This spell will also provide him with a barrier, which allows him to do more damage with one of the legendaries. Now because he's going with triple war cries, and here we have the third war cry with war cry, so triple shots. So here 1 point will be going into war cry, and its upgrades which allows him to have berserk for 4 seconds, and also allows him to deal increased damage when there's more enemies. And as we're going to see in the legendaries, he will be pulling enemies with whirlwind. Now a lot of the passive points for war cry and also the shots will be upgraded over here, which provides him with additional healing, additional damage reduction, and also additional duration for the shots. Now as we move over to the weapon mastery, you can see that he is getting damage reduction and also bonus damage to close enemies. And also because he is attributing or contributing to bleeding damage with his whirlwind. So notice that he's not going for whirlwind deals more damage, but rather he's going for whirlwind deals bleeding damage. The bleeding damage itself will be translated into bonus damage to slow enemies, and he will be slowing enemies with bleeding, right? So when enemies are slowed by 10%, they will take bonus damage because it's a multiplier for the bonus damage to slow enemies, which is really good. Now defensively and also offensively, he will be getting more Fortify as he takes damage. And once he has Fortify over 50% maximum life, he will be dealing 12% more damage. So this build is going to focus on vulnerability, Fortify, barriers, resource regeneration, and also a lot of movement speed, which is going to be really fun. Now finally, for the Berserk section, he of course went for the Wrath of Berserker, and over here you can see Berserker will provide us with more damage and also more abilities as we spend more Fury with the Berserk. So one thing to notice is though, so for the next 10 seconds, dealing direct damage with basic spells grant Berserk for 5 seconds. Because he's not using a basic spell, I don't think he will be able to get the additional duration for Berserk. So this is the only downside, because he is going with triple shot and also he is going for a lot of defensive spells. I guess it is okay though. Now of course, he's using a two-handed weapon. He's using both a two-hand axe and also a two-hand sword, which provide him with increased critical strike damage. Now finally, for the key passives, he did go with the core spell that deals 135% more damage, but spends more fury. What you're gonna see is, through his Paragon board and also his legendaries, he will be focused on fury gain and also deals more damage. Now coming over to the gear summary for Rob's build for level 100 Whirlwind Barbarian. I'm actually really excited. I think I'll be playing Barbarian after watching this video. So I'm quite excited to go through this. And the legendary of choice or the unique item of choice to make this build possible is going to be this unique. Now if we do not have this unique, it is okay. I did make an alternative build without unique items. But of course, let's focus on the build that he has uniques. He'll be using 2 uniques. The most important unique will be these gloves, which allows Whirlwind to deal massive damage at the end of the duration, and all the total damage will be multiplied and together deal as fire damage. And this is going to be tremendous. So this is one of the reasons that you can see like 2 billion cell damage over here with the build, because this actually stack up the Whirlwind damage. So once you have these gloves, you can have the full build. You do not need the unique pants, but this will be helpful as well. Now briefly go through the unique pants that he has, which allows him to gain barrier when he heals beyond maximum life. So the combination that he was going for was that while having a barrier, he will be dealing additional damage while having a barrier. So now let's briefly go through the offensive codex and also choices of legendaries and also aspects that he's going for. Well, the first thing that he was going for is his special choice of item, which is going to be the specialization for the Barbarian. And he's going for the two-handed axe, which allows him to do more vulnerability damage and also more critical chance against vulnerable enemies. And this will be the theme of the game. He'll be going for vulnerable damage, going for critical chance, and also critical damage. Now the first two-hand items or the two-handed legendary effect of choice is that Whirlwind will deal additional critical chance, up to 40% when it is channeled, and this will be doubled with the effect of the two-handed weapon. The second two-handed weapon he's going for is that each point of fury generated beyond the maximum fury for the core spell, you will deal additional damage, up to 30 or 60% on the two-handed weapon. And those are going to be the major source of damage coming from the build. Now if we come over to the amulet, we also have additional source of damage when the primary resource is high for the Barbarian over here. And while he is at full maximum resource, he'll be dealing a lot more damage. So notice that in the replay over here, notice that most of the time his fury is always maxed out. And this allows him to do always a maximum damage using those combinations. Now the choices of legendaries of effects with a one-handed weapon is that when he's in Berserk, he will be dealing additional bleeding damage against enemies. And also over here, while he's having a barrier, he'll be dealing additional damage. And the barrier is coming from these unique pins. Now very soon I'll show you guys the alternative. What happens when you don't have the unique pins? You can go for badger pins. Now because our friend Rob is running a triple shot build, both of the rings will be going into resource section, I believe. So let's have a look here. Yes, both of the rings will be going for resource. Now the only item that can roll and also can be crafted into resource will be the rings. So both of the rings are going for resource for the shots. The first ring will be providing a cooldown reduction for the shots. So if you have a look at in the replay over here, notice that the cooldown of his shots is very low, because when he casts a shot, the cooldowns of other shots will be going down very fast. And this allows him to combo and also instantly resets his shots. And his shots becomes unstoppable, and he has infinite shots, which is going to be very powerful. Now the second ring over here also provides his shots with additional benefits, and this is one of the reasons he's not going for basic abilities. Because he can be gaining 2 to 4 fury per second with each of the shots activated, this allows him to gain constantly max fury, which deals maximum damage with the fury gain, and also over here while he's at max fury he'll be dealing more damage. So the rotation combination with the shots together with the fury gain and also maximum damage is going to be very powerful. So notice that he has multiple shots that is activated during the battle, and this allows him to do more damage, gains more shots, and also gains mobility, defensiveness, and also offensiveness. Now as for the choice of the helmet for the legendary, it is quite straightforward. So here the Whirlwind will be pulling enemies towards you, which is going to be a must-have for the Whirlwind build. And as for the chest, he's going for additional armor, and this one can be crafted from one of the dungeons, which is pretty good. Now we talk about the pants, we talk about the gloves, and finally as for the boots, because he'll be going with Berserk, and while he's Berserk, he'll be unstoppable. So the Berserk will be a Super Saiyan mode that has increased damage, has increased movement, and even more movement because of these boots, which is going to be really good, and he also can go through enemies. Now let's come over to my first alternative. So what happens guys when you don't have the unique gloves and also unique pants? Well, let's start with the unique pants first. The concept of having the unique pants is that he wants barrier, and he will be constantly getting barrier. One of the budget way of getting this is going through Act 1, and you can be getting this Codex from the dungeon from Lost Archives. And this budget kind of pants allows you to get a barrier every 10 seconds. So the uptime of the barrier is 10 seconds compared to here, he will be constantly having a barrier because of the unique item. So this is the basic choice that you're going for the barrier, and you're still gaining the increase of the 25% damage with having a barrier. Now of course guys, when you cast your Iron Skin, you also have a barrier over here as well. So this is really good. Now because the gloves itself is going to be the core legendary unique gloves for the build, it is hard to replace these gloves. So I did have a look at any of the alternatives, and I think the best one we can get is a little bit of damage with Whirlwind that leaves behind the Dust Devil. It is optional if you guys want to go with Whirlwind that summons an engine as well, but I don't think those will be massive. Of course the build will still work, because you see that he was doing tremendous damage with level 100 for the maximum dungeons. This of course is focused on the ability that this entire damage explosion of the Whirlwind is accumulated and also utilized correctly. So if we do not have these gloves, we cannot have the perfect build. But alternatively guys, if you find these unique gloves in World 3 or World 4, you can have this perfect build, because this build just requires the gloves to make everything work. And in the meantime, if you guys do want to play Whirlwind Barbarian without the gloves, you can go with this legendary that provides more damage with Dust Devils. Now if you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of Diablo 4 related topics and also videos and also guides. We'll be looking to the top meta builds, non-meta builds, leveling up, and also Paragon tricks. We're also looking to the latest events and also official updates and also changes to different characters and also different builds in the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn the notification on, because a lot of you who are watching the videos have not subscribed. You can see 80% of the viewers who are watching our videos have not subscribed, so make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for the latest update for Diablo 4. Now coming over to the choice of the Paragon board Rob has showed us. So here what I did was I went through the Paragon board as he was showing, and I tried to path everything out. Because during the video he was a little quick, again he's a veteran player, right? So he shot things very quickly. And I want to provide the entire pathway that he showed us, and then I show you guys one alternative pathway that follows his concept and follows the entire board. So right away, the first glyph he will be going for is increased close range damage. This allows him to achieve a 39 dexterity, and this also provides him with 10% damage reduction. Just to show you guys the whole summary over here in case you're wondering, you can see all the summary that is available. So as we path towards the next board, he will be going with a board that provides with 3 furies when swapping weapons. Now of course he was not going for the legendary, rather he was going for the rare perks and also the blue perks, which is going to be the elite hunter killer, which is going to be really good for most of the builds. And over here you can see the next glyph he's going for is that to increase the maximum effectiveness of the magical nodes. And this will be very good with all of these short abilities that has the cooldowns. So you can see over here, one of the reasons that he has almost no cooldown with shots is with this legendary effect, which reduces the cooldowns of other shots by 1.2 seconds when he casts a shot. And while he's there, he can be going with additional blue perks or the blue glyphs and also the rare knots, which provides him with more damage and also more defensive capacities. Now the second Paragon board of choice is going to be for this legendary, which allows him to spend fury that gains him 4-5 maximum life. Because he will be gaining so much fury from the constant regeneration of the shots, and he will be dealing more damage with more fury, so this is a really good combination. And over here you can see that he is also perking into damage increase and also fortified increase and also damage while fortified bonus damage. Now as for the glyph over here, the next choice will be increased damage to vulnerable enemies. And here he can achieve at least 49 dexterity, which allows him to do a lot more damage against vulnerable enemies. So the way he was getting vulnerability is from this passive, which allows him to do 30% chance of making enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds. Now as we move over to the third Paragon board, the choice of the board is going to be the Cementor. Again, he is not going for the legendary choice, but rather going for the glyphs for the endgame. So here you can see the glyphs will be allow him to deal more damage while fortified. He has multiple ways of getting more fortified, and because while he's fortified, he will also deal more damage. So here is another passive. He will be dealing more damage while fortified is over, 50%. And he will be getting more fortified with his Iron Skin with the passives. Now by picking this third board over here, he can achieve a 54 willpower, which is really high for the Barbarian. And while he was over there, he will be getting more vulnerability damage and also additional damage and also reduction against vulnerable enemies. And as we go over here to the next side, you can also be getting more vulnerability damage and also a bit of defensiveness. Now as we move over to the fourth Paragon board, this board is the board with the Bone Breaker. Again, we're just going for the glyphs over here. So the glyphs will provide him with increased critical damage with the core spells, which is going to be pretty tremendous. Let's have a look over here, and let's have a look at the increased critical damage with the core spells. I do believe you can see that it is over 161% bonus critical damage, and this is going to be a major source of the multipliers. I do believe in the video he was showing about 450% critical damage bonus. Now while he's over here, we're not going for the overpower damage, but rather we're going for the increased damage reduction while healthy, and also more defensiveness. Now finally, in the video, Rob was able to show us that he was getting to the fourth or the fifth board, which provide him with more physical damage and also more critical damage. And he was mentioning that in the video that he plans to go to this Paragon board, and this is what I want to share with you guys. So here what I did was I decided to min and max the skill points and try to get to the final Paragon board. And what he mentioned is he wants more damage to be dealt while he's healthy, above 80% HP. So by changing the board that Rob provided us in the video a little bit, and also min and max a little bit, I took away a few of the points around the places which provide a little bit of armor and also more defensiveness. And rather I perk over here to provide us with a 39 willpower, which allows us to deal a little bit more damage when we're healthy. So over here you can see we'll be dealing 69% more damage while healthy. And this also allows us to perk into more damage reduction over here. So it's not a big loss, and I do think if Rob was able to get the maximum Reno, he will be definitely doing something similar. So here this way, we're extending the build, we're trying to min and max, and we're trying to go a little further with level 100 with 30 Reno. Now hopefully you guys enjoyed this Let's Play and Let's Learn video. Yes, because I was not able to participate in the closed betas, we don't know how the level 100 works. I'm quite excited to see a player that shows us the entire board and how it works. And I love to learn, I love to build, right? So here we're learning his build, we're changing a little bit just for the case that you don't have the unique item, and also how do you go with a Paragon board to go even further. So let me know what you guys think about this type of videos. We'll be learning a lot from the veteran players who play the beta, and we'll be going through a lot of builds for different classes. So the Barbarian is the first class. And just to share with you guys myself personally, after watching Rob's video, he has converted me. I'm gonna start with Barbarians. That's right. Yes, my first class for Diablo 4 will be Barbarians. I was contemplating on Barbarians and also, Necromancers for so long, but after watching his build and after seeing how it works with Whirlwind, which I love Whirlwind, I didn't build it because I wasn't sure how strong it is. Now seeing the build and also seeing it works, I am really curious because I want to go with a Whirlwind Barbarian, I want to go with Thorns Barbarian, and I also want to go with a variety of Barbarians. And I think Barbarian has the most weapon choices and also the theoretical and also the practical crafting choices. So let me know what you guys think about this build, and make sure to check out Rob's video and give him a like, because this is a really good guide for the upcoming launch of the game and also prepare for the end game. Now before you go, and if you guys didn't know, we have a new YouTube channel, and if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and check out the behind the scenes and also fun clips and also more stories about us, and then you get to know me a little more personally instead of just reading the news and also the games, right? So I want to share a little bit more with you guys, so make sure you check this channel out if you're interested about Matt and also Uni. She's really funny too, and she's really shy, so I want to give her a surprise and do a shout out for the new channel to get some subscribers. Thank you guys, I'll see you guys next time.